Flawless victory.
We in the dojo, ain't no days off. The way isn't training, you don't bleed in practice, you die in the field. Look, swinging the wood till my knuckles are bleeding. I don't need rest, it's the combat I'm needing. 10,000 hours, I'm locked in the zone. Carving my spirit right down to the bone. Stepping my radius, watch how I sever. I'm swinging this blade like I do this forever. Practice makes lethal, the rest make me cold. I'm gripping the steel till my body gets old. You talking that talk, but you skipping the gym. I look at the weekend, I pity for him. Every single morning, I wake up and strike. You never seen discipline looking like. I empty my lungs and I swing out the chest. I treat every shadow like it is a test. The way is the practice is war. I leave all my enemies down on the floor. Rep at the right, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about love, but the way isn't training. Blood on the wood and the sweat on the mat. I'm drilling the bases, I'm leaving it flat. Rep at the right, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about love, but the way isn't training. Slide in the footwork, I pivot and pop. I'm built for the trenches, I never will stop. Look at the calluses, cover my hands. I'm executing these tactical plans. You sleeping in late, I was up in the dark. Leaving the den and the wood in the bark. Slow down the tempo, I'm taking my time. Perfect the angle, I perfect the crown. 1,000 more cuts just to build up the muscle. You don't understand the extent of the hustle. Drilling the parry, I'm drilling the block. I'm beating the sun and I'm beating the clock. There ain't no secret, there ain't no hack. You step on the battlefield, you don't come back unless you put hours and hours of sweat. I am a consequence, I am a threat. Continual practice, I never retreat. I'm dropping the opposition at my feet. Rep out the rep, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about love, but the ways in training. Blood on the wood and the sweat on the mat. I'm drilling the bases, I'm leaving it flat. Rep out the rep, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about love, but the ways in training. Slide in the footwork, I pivot and pop. I'm built for the trenches, I never will stop. No days off, no excuses. You skip a day, you slip away. Strike 1,000 times before the sun is up. My mind is heavy, but my blade is light. Drill it again. Yeah. Aggressive approach when I step in the ring. I swing with the force that a hurricane bring. Master the form till the form is a ghost. I'm doing the most when you're doing the least. I turn myself into tactical beast. The way isn't training, it's session my brain. I'm walking through fire, I'm walking through rain. Ain't no arrival, it's only the grind. I'm leaving the rest of the rookies behind. Grab out the rail, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about luck, but the way isn't training. Blood on the wood and the sweat on the mat. I'm drilling the bases, I'm leaving it flat. Grab out the rail, yeah, we put in that pain and don't talk about luck, but the way isn't training. Slide in the footwork, I pivot and pop. I'm built for the trenches, I never will stop. Keep swinging, keep drilling. The ways of practice, yeah. Yeah. The ways of
We're really looking forward to rolling out Codex. The way we've been thinking about it is to actually point it to our gnarliest problems, things that we haven't really figured out how to solve. If you think about, Wayfair, we've got 40 million products. It's an unbranded, differentiated category, right? And it's very style-based, very emotional. One of the really impactful ways in which we've been working and partnering with OpenAI has been on our catalog enrichment program. You want to make sure that you represent the products that our suppliers give us as accurately, but as also as completely as possible. We leverage the models and API to actually power a large portion of our catalog enrichment program. The model is what's powering us. It's not something that we would ever have even tried to do manually. And so it's been really impactful. That's something that all our customers get to benefit from, and our suppliers as well.
That was not a promotion for OpenAI. You guys even know. Unless they hit me up like, hey, we want to sponsor you. That's a whole different story. But I'm not like an advocate for OpenAI. I am large language model agnostic. But the reason that I played this particular video, this is the CTO of Wayfair, and she's explaining how they are using OpenAI or ChatGPT OpenAI in order to empower 40 million product listings. Just today, my mom was looking for something on Amazon, and she's using the Amazon AI chat to find the best product. And guess what? It made her an offer that she could not resist.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
So the reason that I'm sharing this from a tech and career perspective. This is very, very important because this shows what companies are looking for, the type of mindset, the type of skills, the type of tools. The CTO of Wayfair is explaining that they are like what they're using AI for. And with that being said, that means that you should go and explore with AI, learn the necessary skills so that you can get the job that you're looking for, so that so you're not being dusty, walking out on the CEO of Google when he's making his commencement speech, where you could be learning a lot, which we're going to be reviewing very, very soon. Probably for on Monday's kind of conversation. But this is the opportunity that this is the type of things you need to look for to say, okay, where do I need to go? Where do I need to pivot? That is why I wanted to share this little icebreaker with you, because these are the type of people that you need to listen from, that you need to learn from. These are the type of people you need to listen to, find out what these companies need, and go ahead and learn it so you can provide to them that service. You are your own business. You are your own business. So find the skills, sell it to those companies. When a company makes you an offer to hire you for a job, for a role, they are like, you are selling them your service. You're selling them yourself, right? So get that into your mind. Find out what these companies want and go ahead and give it to them. All right. That is my message to you. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the show for today. Welcome. I am Tech Coach Ralph. We are engineered to win. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2026. Can you believe that? We are closer to July than we are to May. The year is flying by. How is it going for you? How is everyone doing this week? I was out last week. I was learning so much last week, from sun up to sun down. So many people that I got to hear from, that I got to meet. And we're going to talk about that at Vibe Coding Show, not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. Hope to see you there, Life Lessons. Hope to see you there too, Courtney Egger Show. Hope to see you guys there, because I have so much insight in what's going on in the tech space, how we need to adjust, how we need to pivot, a lot of AI information. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. But that's not why we're here tonight. We are going to be working on some more Jiu-Jitsu stuff for our RAG, retrieval augmented generation. During our breaks, we are going to be reviewing Uber. Uber launches autonomous taxis. They said to their drivers, get up and out of here. I think is it in Houston? Well, I think it's in Texas somewhere. We're going to be reviewing that. We are going to be reviewing Senator Jim. It's a senator. Let's say it's a senator. He's going to be questioning teachers, or educational quote unquote experts on what do teachers need to teach to be AI ready. We're going to look at that. And then, of course, my dear friend, well, he doesn't know that I'm his friend, but he is my whatever. But Elon Musk and his SpaceX just IPO'd, and they just took over. Takeover. It's a takeover. They just took over Cursor. You guys, if you guys have seen the Jiu-Jitsu channel, Justin, I introduced him to Cursor the other day, and he is crying now because he is out of tokens. He is out of tokens. The life of a token fiend. You know, I gave him one hit of those AI tokens, and now he is an addict. He is an addict. It is what it is. It is what it is. Quick announcements, a little bit of housekeeping real quick. So tomorrow we have the bug bite. I'm going to be dropping the bug bite tomorrow. So take a look at that. I might release the one that I wanted to release last week, but I pulled it back at the last minute. But I'm either going to do one. Oh, I forgot what I was going to do for this week, but I do have one on Anthropic. Anthropic talking about there should be a pause on AI after they released Mythos or Fable and they got banned. But I'm like, you guys are like at $1 trillion valuation, and now you guys want to ban AI? Like, you want to put a pause? I don't know. So I might just drop that one because I wanted to drop that one. So I might drop that one, and the one that I had for this week, I'm going to push it to next week. So I shall see. I'll let you guys know. But that one is locked and loaded, ready to go. We are going to be live on Sunday. We're going to be working on. The Speak Precisely speech coaching app. Getting that, we made some improvements to that last weekend. We're going to continue on that. And then we do have Scrum Night at 6 p.m. with the Tech Barbarians. You are able to stream it live at techcoachrap.dev for free. But then if you want to watch it on playback, if you want to message me one-on-one, you got it. And if you want to, have more conversations with me personally, then you have to be a member of techcoachrap.dev. All right. Let me see. Shout out to all the subscribers to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining, for allowing me to add value into your life. I really appreciate being able to connect with you guys, interacting with you guys in the comments. It is so good to see where everybody's at and able to try to add some additional direction, additional mindset, additional insight into everyone. So shout out to every last one of you. I truly appreciate you. Shout out to my tech barbarians who are working so hard. I cannot wait for our next Vibe Code and Chill, which we do every other Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We have a grand old time. And I already see Life Lesson saying that he is going to be showing us what he's working on. 2 apps, not 1, but 2 apps at our next Vibe Code and Chill. I cannot wait for that. But it's awesome. We have such a good time answering all of your questions, and it's really a community where we learn from each other. So you definitely want to join us for Vibe Code and Chill. If you have any tech questions, any AI questions, any career questions, if you're wondering like what course you want to take, if you want to talk more about the topic from the other day, if you should go take an AI course, or not a course, but like an AI curriculum, we can have those discussions. We do all of that there. So really good stuff. And shout out to my tech mercenaries, the YouTube channel members who allow this channel to go across the entire world. I love getting comments. I love connecting with people who are watching this channel across the world. We've had from Japan, Taiwan, from Russia, from Ukraine, from India, from all over the world. So I'm so excited to connect with you guys. One last quick announcement. On Monday morning, I am going to be co-hosting Talk That Tech with Tech Bag Trey because Joseph, the other co-host of Talk That Tech, he is going to be living his best life up and out of here. Allegedly, he says he has to travel for work, right? We'll see about that, but he's not going to be here, so probably going to be on the beach in Cancun or something. Who knows? But I will fill in and I will be hosting with Trey. And we are going to be talking about the topic. It's going to be a different format this coming Monday, right? That's the expectation. We're going to have a conversation about, and we're going to hit on different points. Is it possible to get a job in 2026, going into 2027, any job for that matter, without having AI skill sets? Without having any AI skill sets. And like I said, any job, not only a tech job, but can you get a job in 2026, 2027 without having AI skill set in your portfolio, in your repertoire, in your toolbox, toolkit? So a lot of stuff happening. I will be all over the place. I cannot wait to share. I cannot wait for that conversation. I'm looking forward to Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time on the Talk That Tech channel. I will make a post on this channel, and I will link it on Monday and everything, and I will talk about it on Sunday again. So really action-packed lineup for the next couple of days. So looking forward to it all. All right, let me check the chat real quick, and then we're gonna get into. What should we get into? We're gonna get to work. And then we're gonna go because it's still early. Work. Why? Oh, hold up. Give me a second. Give me a second here. That's not good. Give me a second. All right. Yeah. I just noticed that this laptop was not plugged in, and I'm not trying to have us, and I have all these things plugged in, and we end up getting to like, the laptop dies on us. We're not trying to have that happening. All right. But let me check the comments real quick, and then we're going to get into work. So what I want to do when we get to work though, I was going to do a little bit more work on the RAG, but I want to see if we can set up so that we can outsource some resources on this computer. I wanted to see if we can, if I can connect to another computer and set up the database there. We connect to that one so that we don't have to like have everything running here, because streaming with OBS, encoding, doing all that stuff, it takes space. It takes resources, it takes CPU. So I'm not trying to have it slow down. So I'm going to see what we can do. We're going to see what we can do. But checking the chat, let me check the chat real quick. Say hello to my friends. We got my guy, Courtney Egger Show in the building. What up, Courtney? What up? What up? What up? How is it going? How is it going? By the way, Courtney Egger Show, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Clap it up first. Clap it up. Clap it up first. My guy, Rod Brown, he showed me. He sent me the link. He said, "Oh, look at that. Courtney made it on MTR's video." And I was like, "What?" My guy done made it. My guy has done made it. Courtney asked, who made the song? I made the song. That song is Blood on the Wood. I made it using AI. Told it what kind of style I was going for, and there you have it. And Courtney also asked, what about, it says the whole intro too. And I was saying that the intro, it was Envato template, a couple of Envato templates, put them together. And then I dropped in the images that I wanted. Some of the images were AI. Some of them were of me. And I just took a bunch of those rendered videos, and I put them in DaVinci Resolve, put them together. It was a task. It was a task. So, but that's what happened. All right. Let me see. We got life lessons in the building. What up, life lessons? Says, how have y'all been? I have been good. I've been traveling. Last week I was not on. I guess I fell out the algorithm, but we are back in business, locked and loaded. I was live Sunday, live Tuesday, live tonight. We don't miss. It says, next Vibe Code and Chill, I will do a show and tell on 2 apps. Let's go. I love that. I love to see what people are working on. I remember when Junior told me back in February, I built an app. That's all he said. I'm like, what? I seriously was like this. Junior Largy build an app? I was like, no way, Jose. And then ever since then, he's just been adding on top of it, and it is absolutely remarkable. I am seeing Junior turn into a AI software engineer right in front of my eyes, month to month. As he gets out of level with jail, he just builds more, making it cooler and cooler. And now he told me he's working on a new project, so I can't wait to see that. So really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. All right. That is it for now. Let's go ahead and let's get to work. We're gonna do work, break, wrap it up. All right. Get to it. Let's get to it. So let me put up this. I'm going to put 20 minutes on the clock.
It's time to do.
So like I said, I want to see if I can, well, it's going to go 2 ways. If I can connect to the other computer, I will connect to it and start installing what we need to do our vector DB and all that ingest. If I can't, then we're just going to pick up where we left off last time. All right. So we shall see. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to go to, let me see, screen sharing. Let me see what I can do here. I open the app. Where art that app? Screen sharing again. Okay, there it goes. And then I see the computer. Let's go to that one. And then we want to say, let me do this first. That work? Let me see if that works. I see it popping up. Let me see if it's gonna. Oh yeah. Ooh. All right, so we are connected to that computer. And let's go ahead and sure. Let's move this over here. All right, so I'm gonna go to. So this is the other computer, right? I'm using the MacBook screen sharing in order to access it, and I want to be able to. All right, I'm gonna pull up here, and let me see. Let me find. Where did I talk about this? Maybe it is. Okay, so let's go over here for a second. And I am going to say I was able to screen share with another MacBook of mine. I would like to use that as the Mac Mini host so that it can read, so that it can host the RAG, right? How would I set that up? And I wonder if I could do Docker with that as well. It would be even more convenient to do it with Docker. Because if I do Docker, I can easily spin it up and spin it down. Find the MacBook's local IP. I think I have that already. This will something like that. When the IP, write it down. This is your new Mac Mini IP. Hijack Olama to listen to the network. If you normally launch Olama by clicking on the app icon in your Mac's application folder, it locks itself to the local host. We need to kill that and run it from the terminal so that it opens its door to your streaming PC. All right, so let's do a few things. We are going to so let's start over here. Let's go to terminal and we will do, can I zoom in on this? I think I can. All right, so Let's do IP config get if addren0. So 10.0.0.101. That's our IP address. And then all right, so now on my computer, I am going to, well, let's restart first to update, but then I'm going to quit it. And here I am showing how we can end up setting up our own large language model / our own RAG locally on our network. Okay, restart it, and I'm gonna quit. And then I am going to open a new one. Now this one's on my computer. And I am going to say export Olama host equals 0.0.0.0 and then Olama serve. I suppose that worked, right? All right. Next up, leave the terminal open. Now on a second terminal in the hostbook MacBook, that would be this computer I'm using, you just spin up the database and ensure what? So over here, it says you need to spin up the database to ensure it also listens to the entire network while keeping the persistent flag so you don't lose your IBGF rules. Wait, which is the host Mac? That would be the hijack. So if you normally launch, we need to kill that. So on step 2 and step 3, am I doing that from, which computer am I doing that from? Oh, I need to do this on, all right, so I need to do this on the other one then. Hold up. So here, let me do another one. It says X, do I have a llama on this one? Let me see. Olama? Olama not found. All right, so I guess I need to install Olama. Install Olama. Mac OS. Download from Mac OS. Save. Open. All right. So we got, all right, so I'm over here installing Olama. Oops. Let's do Olama. Open. All right, so now if we do quit Olama and we go to here and we say export Olama host equals 0.0.0.0 and Olama serve. All right, we got that running. Sweet. Then I don't think we have ChromaDB on that computer. So let me just confirm. We should be running step 2 and step 3 on the MacBook that I'm not on the other MacBook, right? Not the one I'm currently using. And I'm going to change this model down to 3.5 Flash. Yes, you got it, because we're treating the second MacBook as your dedicated remote database. All right, cool. That's what I thought. I don't have Chroma on that machine yet. How would I install it? Or can we install it via Docker? Using Docker on host MacBooks is actually the cleanest way to set it up. It prevents you from having to mess with Python virtual environments. That's what I want to do with Docker. Since you're already familiar with Docker, we're going to do... That works. So Docker run, name the Docker container DockerDB, expose port 8000. We're going to do a virtual, not virtual, but volume of Chroma data, and it's going to map it to this path. So it's going to do like this folder on your local computer. It's going to map it into this path on the Docker image or Docker container. And then the environment variable is persistent equals true, so we don't lose it. And then we're going to get the image from ChromaDB/Chroma, the latest version of the image. I'm gonna copy that. And we're gonna go over to here. And we are going to say, all right, it's gonna download that. And then, so we got that. So I'm looking over here. So what I just described this. It is running. So we do Docker PS, we should see it. Let's do that just so you can see. But do you see how all these things come together? How Docker comes together, how RAG, AI, DevOps, all of those things. And when you get into like tools like Amazon Bedrock or in AWS and like Terraform, everything that we have been working on for the past 2-3 years, they all continue to come together. They all come together. All right. So make this bigger and we're going to say Docker PS. And there goes our ChromaDB running. All right. Now that Chroma is spinning inside Docker on the Mac, we can choose where to run your ingest.pdf. Option A, easiest, just run ingest.pdf right from your main streaming PC. That would be this one. Because the script uses standard HTTP requests to talk to the database. Chroma, it doesn't care if Chroma is local or remote. It will chunk the PDF on your main machine, send the pieces to a llama on the MacBook to get embedded, and then stream those vectors directly into the MacBook Docker container. Option 2, copy the script and PDF over to the MacBook via thumb drive or SSH. I don't think we need to do that. Yeah, we'll do it that way. Let's see. What is the command that we need to do that? What is the command? Or you know what? Actually, it would be if we go to here. If we were to update the Mac Mini IP from localhost to 10.0.0.101, that should be able to do it. And then we do the seed data. It's already getting it from the Mac Mini IP. BJJ docs. Where did we do the... Oh, there goes ingest PDF as well. And sweet, they're all using that. Perfect. So we can do BJJ seed data or ingest. Let's do ingest PDF. Let's do ingest PDF because that should take it to the... I'm looking over here. That should take it to the Mac Mini. Let's go to... I can't wait to get my camera back. I had to send it off yesterday to be fixed. Let's go ahead and let's see if it's going to work. We're going to do current file. So it's going to run the ingest PDF that we created last time. And it's going to send in it's going to send in the document for the PDF file for the IBJJF rulebook for Jiu-Jitsu. And let's see if that works. Fingers crossed, drum roll, please. Well, that was a failure. Let's see what happened. But you can see, could you? No. Let me see. Let me do, let's do this. Let's do, what is that command? Docker logs. Let me see, help. I want to follow the, all right, Docker logs, dash F to follow, dash N for 100 lines. All right, let's do 200 lines. And then we want to do the container, which is Chroma. What was the name of the container? Chroma DB. All right, so we're tailing the Docker logs, right? Let's go over here. So why did this fail? Why did this fail? Connecting, generating embeddings. Were you able to connect? Let's see what step 3 says. Step 3, connect the Mac Mini port 8000. Maybe it worked. Why did that fail though? Do I have to get all right, so I'm gonna copy this code over here. And I am gonna say it failed here, but I suppose I need to add that model to Olama on the new MacBook. Since you switch to treating secondary as your, since you switch to treating your secondary MacBook as a remote database, your script is hitting the MacBook's new port looking for here. All right, so that means we need to, let's do a new one of these. All right, gotta pull that. We probably gotta pull Gemma as well. Let's do Gemma 4. All right, cool, perfect. So what a perfect time to go to break. On the next time that we run this should probably work, but we will do that after we come back from break. All right, so good. This takes a lot of resources off running on this computer, which maybe that's something that we should do. Find a way to do going forward, like where we're kind of using 2 computers to do the show, so that we don't end up slowing down like the resources on this computer, because development takes a lot of like building stuff takes a lot of resources, and that's why the AI needs data centers so badly. So let's keep that in mind. All right, let me go and let's check the chat real quick before we get into our first break time topic of tonight. Let me see what we got. What we got here in the building. Life Lesson says, I can't remember the last time I didn't use Docker in any of my projects. It's a standard now. I love Docker. Here's a funny thing. Here's a funny thing about Docker, right? 10 years ago, literally 10 years ago, I switched jobs. I started a new company, and I had never, ever, ever heard of Docker before. I think Docker was really, really new. And that company, they were using Rancher and using Docker, and I had absolutely no idea what they were talking about, what the engineers were talking about. So I went on Udemy and I tried to find a course on Docker. There was nothing. I really, really didn't understand what it meant. Fast forward a few years, fast forward till last year when we were working on DevOps, I feel there's so much to Docker I don't know, but if I put it on a scale of 1 to 10 of how well I know Docker, I'd probably go with like a 6, maybe 7, but I would feel comfortable at a 6, because I know a lot of what it can do. A lot of the I can quickly get started, spin up, help people, start up some whatever, right? Some containers, some images, I've built pretty extensive images and stuff like that. But just knowing like where I came from with like when Docker first came, like when around the time Docker first came out, and I had absolutely no idea how to use it, to now where it's a total game changer. I agree with you 1000%. Life Lessons. Basically all of my projects are incorporating Docker in somehow. So shout out. Very true. Makes deployment process 10 times easier and faster. And we got my guy Junior Largy in the building. What up, Junior? How is it going? How is your day going today, Junior? Always a blessing and a pleasure to have you in the building. Let me see. It says, have you thought about hosting it on Railway to conserve Railway? All right. I mean, what is Railway? What is Railway? Railway is not that Railway. Railway in tech. Railway refers to infrastructure as a service cloud platform, allows developers to deploy code, host databases, and build full stack applications instantly by connecting their GitHub repositories without needing advanced DevOps skills. I mean, I could do that with just about any platform, but it depends on what I'm building. Because I just be cheap sometimes. Let me see what does Railway have to offer. Let's look at this together real quick. Railway pricing, because I could easily do it on DigitalOcean as well, but I'm like, 30-day free. I could do it on DigitalOcean because I do have a DigitalOcean account where I do host some things on, so I could easily do it there. I just, being hard-headed, and I also wanted to explore. Because like all the different things that I build, they're not necessarily like hosting ready. But I also wanted to explore like connecting, like let's say if I want to do like a local large language model network within my house, then this would probably be how I'm doing it, like hosting it on the Mac Mini or on a different computer that's always on. So very good, very good question, and thanks for introducing me to Railway. So many of these, like there's Vercel, there's Railway, there's AWS if you want to pay more. There's DigitalOcean. There's so many different options. So yeah, definitely. It says, I remember when I first saw Docker, I was so lost. Now I'm more. It was so foreign back in the days. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of tonight. Uber, yes, good old Uber. They. Do you guys remember a few weeks ago we broke down if if it was wise for Uber to switch to autonomous taxis like Waymo, like Tesla are doing, or if it was more economical for them to stick to their current business model of hiring people to drive, like hiring humans to drive. So looks like they're introducing in Houston. Let's find out.
Uber taking aim at Tesla and Waymo with its newest ROBOTAXI expansion. Mackenzie Sagalos has that story for us. Mackenzie.
Hey, good morning, David. So Uber shares lowered this morning after the company said it will bring its own robotaxi service to Houston, a launch that would put Uber up against Waymo and Tesla in one of the only U.S. markets where all three will be competing. Now, commercial service is slated for next year, but testing is already underway with Lucid supplying the vehicles and Nuro providing the self-driving tech. It's the latest sign of how dramatically Uber has reversed course on autonomous vehicles. 6 years ago, CEO Dara Khosrowshahi sold off Uber's in-house self-driving unit. Now Uber is said to be spending more than $10 billion.
So $10 billion. So they're going to be committing $10 billion to autonomous vehicles. 7.5 billion for robotaxi fleet and 2.5 in equity stakes. And they're buying 35,000 Lucid vehicles, gee whiz, and up to 50,000 Rivian vehicles. My goodness. That is wild. Oh, my sound effects. Hold up. Forgot to turn it back on. So here is the deal. Here is the deal with this, right? I mean, that's a lot of cars. 85,000 cars that they have to buy. Lucids are not cheap. Rivians are not cheap. And then they need to get the software. They need to get them retrofit, or I don't even know how they would get them to work with the Nuro. I never heard of Nuro technology for self-driving. But here is the issue that I see. Tesla, they make their own cars, and here's a very convenient thing that Tesla can do, right? Let's say somebody leases a Tesla. Tesla can easily take that lease return and turn that into a robotaxi, because a robotaxi does not need to be brand new. So they can easily turn that into a robotaxi. And on Waymo's side, I think they use Jaguars to make into the Waymo, right? So it's a pretty expensive endeavor for Uber. Let's keep going.
To re-enter the market through partnerships like this one. Uber's invested hundreds of millions into Lucid and Nuro and expanded its purchase commitment with Lucid to at least 35,000 robotaxis. But that is just one piece of a much broader AV partner web, from Rivian and NVIDIA to autonomy companies in China, as Uber really tries to bring more vehicles and self-driving systems onto its network. Now, the overarching goal here is to keep Uber from getting cut out of the autonomous stack, especially as Waymo and Tesla increasingly push their own apps and direct-to-consumer networks. The challenge is that this is not the asset-light Uber that investors are used to. Massive charging depots, first-party fleet ownership, and equity stakes make this a much more capital-intensive business with a messier balance sheet and more margin pressure, and that is part of why the stock has been selling off, with $60 billion in market cap erased since October. The Uber CEO really earned credibility with Wall Street by getting the company to profitability. Now he has to show that Uber's AV investments can defend its core ride-hailing business without undermining the financial discipline that investors have really come to expect of Uber. Guys?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Mackenzie. I mean, they are competing now because they also had a relationship with Waymo, as you pointed out, with so many others. But now they're really competitors, aren't they?
They are. I mean, you look at Waymo, it was just a couple days ago that they launched the equivalent to Uber One and Lyft Pink. They haven't launched in a new market with Uber in a couple of years now. So they're just.
So basically what she's referring to, Waymo is offering subscription services. I think it starts at like $30 a month. Let me see. Let's see what it is. Waymo subscription. Waymo offers a monthly a monthly membership program called Waymo Premier for $29.99 per month, designed for frequent riders. The invite-only subscription is initially available in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, with plans to other regions where the standalone Waymo app is active. Priority matching, prioritize vehicle matching to reduce wait times, cashback, earn 10% on Waymo. Okay, flexible cancellations, up to 5 free ride cancellations per month. Early access, interesting. So, that's what Waymo's offering, monthly subscription. Has anyone ridden in an autonomous vehicle like a ROBOTAXI, whether it's Tesla, whether it is Waymo, whether it is, well, do they have any other ones? Waymo, Tesla. I forgot if there's any other ones yet. But has any? Well, I mean, I know that there's other ones, but those are the two most popular ones. But has anyone ridden in one of these autonomous vehicle taxis before?
Just their partner in Atlanta and Austin primarily. And so as we see Uber scale, it's got that partnership with NVIDIA. They plan to open in 28 different cities, 2 of those cities in California coming online in the first half of 27 if their plans work out. And what's also interesting about the Uber model is this idea of being vehicle agnostic, of being agnostic on the software as well. So that partnership with NVIDIA is actually an open stack. So they can bring in tech from Neuro or from other players. And it's really fascinating to see how they're trying to play the field here in AV.
That's smart. But remember, we spoke about a couple of weeks ago how with this investment, like with Uber going into the direction of autonomous vehicles, and McKinsey mentioned it as well, they need to have charging stations, charging depots, places for the Ubers to park when they're not in service. It just goes into a world of new endeavors, you know. And if the CEO just got them to be profitable, now they're making a like $10 billion investment and betting if this is going to work. And I guess my question is, which we can definitely ask, AI, has AV taxis been profitable for these type of companies that Uber is making a $10 billion investment into their own AVs? Let's see. No, autonomous vehicle AV taxi companies have not yet achieved sustained financial profitability. Huh. Interesting. So they're not making any money. They broke, they ain't got it. While market leaders like Waymo have successfully scaled operations and generated notable revenue growth, they continue to operate at a significant loss during the capital-intensive expansion phase. The reality of AV profitability today, high scale losses. Despite an annualized revenue run rate crossing $350 million, Waymo is still heavily subsidized by its parent company, Alphabet, which regularly reports substantial operating losses in its Other Bets division. Wall Street analysts and internal projections estimate that true bottom line profitability for an all autonomous fleet will likely not emerge until 2027 at the earliest. Extreme capital destruction. The industry has historically burned through tens of billions of dollars. For example, General Motors poured over, that was the other one, General Motors, they were supposed to have some too, over $10 billion in Cruise before scaling back its robotaxi ambitions due to regulatory scrutiny, technical setbacks, and immense financial strain. So they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the money. While Uber is making a $10 billion AV investment, Uber's $10 billion commitment, which splits $7.5 billion towards vehicle procurement and $2.5 in equity stakes with automakers like Rivian, Lucid, and Neuro, is a defensive and offensive survival pivot rather than a reflection of current AV profitability. So they're just trying to survive. Preventing platform disintermediation. Uber originally intended to be the asset-light marketplace layer that took a cut of everyone else's robotaxis without owning the cars, right? However, Waymo proved it could scale to 500,000 rides per week using its own standalone app. So basically, Waymo said, "We don't need you anymore. It was cool. We can do it on our own." Waymo proved it could scale to 500,000 rides. That's a lot. That's a lot of rides per week, using its own standalone app, demonstrating that AV operators do not necessarily need Uber to find customers. Uber pivoted to asset ownership to ensure it isn't left behind. The unlocking of long-term unit economics. While human drivers made the gig economy asset-light, autonomy completely rewrites ride-hailing economics. Removing the cost of human drivers shifts the primary expense to vehicle depreciation, hardware, and data computing. Once software handles the driving, the profit margin per mile is expected to vastly exceed traditional ride-hailing once hardware cost falls. Wait. Once software handles the driving, the profit margin per mile is expected to vastly exceed. Oh, so when the software is able to handle it, it's going to be a lot cheaper per mile than the traditional ride hailing. So it's going to be a lot cheaper for the software to do it than for humans to do it. Leveraging a hybrid fleet system, Uber can offset the immediate losses of AV development by deploying a hybrid marketplace. When AV demand spikes or bad weather limits driverless cars, Uber seamlessly hands those rides to its existing pool of human drivers. This means Uber can gradually introduce AVs in up to 15 cities without suffering total utilization drops that pure AV companies face. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And also, when I was out of town last week, I was walking back to the hotel with one of my coworkers, and we were having a discussion of, would we buy the Cybercab, right, from Tesla? And I'm of the opinion of, I would love a Cybercab. I don't like other people driving me, but I would feel pretty comfortable having a Cybercab drive me. Because I don't like driving, number one. Number two, I can get some more work done while sitting in the passenger seat or in the back. Number three, I can also take a nap if I needed to, right? But my coworker was like, nah, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So would you be inclined to having a Cybercab where it can drive you around for you and you just get to relax? And I remember Elon Musk said they should be around 30,000. So I don't know. I would like the option though to also have the capability to drive it. I don't know. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. What do you think about Uber jumping into the EV game, or to the, not EV, but to the AV game, the ROBOTAXI game, to put the challenge on Waymo and on Tesla and other AV companies? What do you think about Uber jumping to the game? Is that a smart move for them to invest $10 billion, or should they stay asset light? Do you not trust the direction that Uber is going in, or do you think it is a great idea? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content. As well, go to techcoachrav.dev, join us for Vibe Code and Chill, join us for our Scrum Nights, get access to Resume Flow, Tech Barbarians Coaching Portal, and the Speaker Precisely app over at techcoachrav.dev. All right, let's go and see if there's anything in the chat, and then we're going to get back to work. Let me see. So, Life Lesson says, I believe in cheap or close to free. I 100,000% agree. And fun fact, Junior has built his entire application with Lovable for free 99. Hasn't spent a dime on Lovable. He just waits. He doesn't mind going in solitary confinement until the month renews, gets back to work. So, and next Vibe Code and Chill, because we didn't have one last time, we should be able to see what kind of what enhancements that Junior has made. So I'm looking forward to that. We also have Life Lessons going to be showing us what he's been working on. And I have some insight and feedback from my week out of town. So really good stuff that we're going to be talking about. All right. Let's see. This is I'm still in jail. Says so. Legend says I have not ridden in a ROBOTAXI. I've seen too many movies where it never ends well for the writer. That question of what if always goes through my mind every time I see one on the road. So I will say this. The only one that gave me a fear, right, was the one that the Obamas produced about the world ending when those Teslas were just slamming. And it's funny that they specifically chose to use Tesla because of their disdain for Elon Musk, allegedly, right? But here's another topic that we have explored on this channel: how ride-hailing companies are facing lawsuits, millions of dollars in lawsuits, 3,000 plus cases. And this is like Uber and Lyft and stuff like that. Because they even have to put policies in place that specifically what the policy says, like women riders can choose not to have men as their driver because there are allegations that the drivers are assaulting the passengers, the customers. So my question always becomes, outside of Waymo not stopping for those pesky school buses, for those pesky kids taking their precious time to walk to the back of the bus, my question is, are the autonomous vehicles safer, barring that they get hacked, but are they safer than the human drivers? Because you think about it, you're getting in a car with a total stranger, and you're hoping that Uber or Lyft or whoever properly vetted their drivers, and you're also hoping that it's not somebody who signed up for Uber, for Uber account, and then they let their cousin or their brother or their sister drive for them, right? So many things, like when you put these humans in place, I don't trust them, right? So there's so many different dynamics, but yeah, like what if you get into one of these autonomous vehicles? Right? What if you get into a Waymo? And or into one of these Ubers, the Uber ones or the Teslas, and now you get in and the doors just lock and you can't get out, and it just starts speeding up and it's going crazy because somebody in their mother's basement, they hacked the system. And then so they hack a Waymo, and you know how Waymos have been driving into flood zones, and it just drives into the flood zone, and now you are trapped in the Waymo, doors locked, can't get out, under the you drown in a Waymo. That's got to be the worst way to go out, right? Because like somebody hacks and they drive you into a flood zone. I don't know. I'm torn by both. I am torn by both. On one hand, you might get picked up and get assaulted. On the other hand, someone could hack the Waymo and drive you into a flood zone. Now, which one is more likely to happen? Probably the assault is more likely to happen than the Waymo getting hacked and taking you into a flood zone. So it's I don't know what you're gonna go with. Maybe we just go back to old school cars. I don't know. We got my guy Rod Brown in the building. What up, Rod Brown? Says, I will not be ignored. What movie was that from? I will not be ignored. Let me see if I can find that. What movie was I will not be ignored in? Fatal Attraction. Can I get that? Let me see what this. Ooh, 340. Should I have a shorter one than that? Oh, let's take this one. TikTok. Oh, let's do this one. Let's see. See if that works.
I don't know what you're up to.
Let's do this. Let's see if this is gonna work. For my guy Rod Brown. Did it work? Oh, cool. Let's do this. For my guy Rod Brown. Welcome, 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 welcome.
I don't know what you're up to. But I'm gonna tell you it's gonna stop right now.
No, it's not going to stop. It's going to go on and on until you face up to your responsibilities.
What responsibilities?
I'm pregnant. I'm going to have our child.
Alex, that's your choice, honey. That has nothing to do with me.
I just want to be a part of your life.
Oh, this is the way you do it, huh? Showing up at my apartment?
Well, what am I supposed to do? You won't answer my calls. You change your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored, Dan.
I don't know what you're up to.
So yes, I am not going to ignore my guy Rod Brown. Shout out to you, Rod. Shout out to my guy Rod Brown with the fire live stream last night. That was a great show, Rod Brown. That was a great show, I must say. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. You are not going to be ignored. Like it says, the movie with the Obamas produced was Leave the World Behind. Yes, that's what it was. Leave the World Behind. That movie was weird. It was weird. It says, what's good, Junior Largy? At least you said it right here. It says the ride share should do real background checks on the creeps that they hire. They should, right? They should. But even if they do, let's say they do a background check and everything come back clean, right? Then what if that's the quote unquote first time this person decides to be a creep? The background check didn't catch that. So it's weird. Life Lesson says, exactly my thinking. Getting into a hacked Waymo, it drives off a bridge or worse. It's true. That's true. That is true. It's a double-edged sword either way. Yep. Let's just go back to the old school Challengers and the Caprices and the Chevys and the Mustangs. We don't need all this technology. And Junior finds it funny. Hey, when he said acknowledge me, that's what I thought about. I will not be ignored, Dan. So yes. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into our next segment of tonight. All right, let's go back and jump in. Put it at 20.
Let's go! Let's go!
Let me close that out. All right, so we have Gemma installed. We have Nomic Embed installed. So let's try to run this again to see if it's going to. And let's also look at, so all right, let's do it like this. I'm going to have the ChromaDB Docker here so we can see what's happening. And I'm going to run this again. And let's see if it goes through. Ooh. So something is happening here, as you can see. I don't see anything happening in the ChromaDB though, which is weird. But you can see that. Where's my mouse? How did my mouse get all the way over there? You can see that it is. It's probably gonna happen at the end, maybe, but it's being ingested. All the work is happening over here. That is so cool. That is so cool. I just don't see anything happening in the ChromaDB yet. Process 120 of 121 chunks, and it is done. So now what? All right, so I'm gonna go back to here and I'm gonna say that the ingestion but I didn't see any logs in the Docker Chroma DB to show anything was being added. Is that normal? By default, ChromaDB's logging level is set to info or warn. It only logs system startup messages, database migrations, or server errors, and major network connection drops to deliberately not output a log for every line. Every time an individual document, okay, cool. So that's good to, all right. So verify the data is actually inside Docker. As a QA engineer, you never just trust that the system worked without an assertion. Instead of looking at standard output logs, we can write a quick 3-line check script in your main streaming PC to query the container directly and ask for the total count of documents inside of it. You can create a tiny script, check deep. All right, cool. Let's do that. We are going to go over to here. I can't wait to get my camera back. By the way, Rod Brown, let me tell you what happened to my camera. I don't know if it's because if it got exposed to like some sunlight or something, but I saw on YouTube that this happens to a lot of those DJI cameras and the extra one that I had. So be careful. I'm telling you this to be careful with yours, but you try to flip the screen and it doesn't stay. Luckily I had the Amazon monthly insurance plan. I was able to send it back, so they're gonna either fix it or send me a new one or give me credit to buy a new one. But yeah, it was really, really weird. So just be careful with yours. I was using it to record jiu-jitsu the other day, and like later it just wouldn't flip. So just letting you know, be careful. All right, let's go ahead and create a new Python file. We're going to call that Python file check db count. And let's put that in scripts. And we are going to say import ChromaDB. We're going to do import, or say import Mac. How did it go again? From helpers import Mac mini IP. Client equals chroma db dot http client. We don't have this set up already by default. Let me see. Mac mini. I guess I have it on call Gemma. I should set this up as a method, but whatever. We'll do this like this for now. We'll do it normal for now. Host equals Mac mini IP. I just hate having repetitive code. That's all. So I'm always looking for the opportunity to refactor. Let's say this returns the exact number of chunks stored in this collection. Let me close this up. Let's close that up. Okay. And we want to say print f total chunks in BJJ docs collection dot count. All right. And then, and this is just so that we can make sure that things are working, you know, optional peek at the metadata of the first 5 chunks to ensure the tags are there. And print F sample meta datas peak results meta. Where'd that come from? Meta datas. Where'd peak results come from? Did we import that somewhere? Oh, okay, I missed that line. That's why. Peak results equal collection dot peak limit equals 5. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and run this one and see what we get. Why are you slowing down on me? All right, let's see what happens here. Cool, it worked. Sweet, nice. Exactly what we wanted. Okay, so now let's close some of these things out. If we go to test our RAG, see, I don't want to have to always have this. Let's refactor this a little bit real quick. Let's say def. And what is this actually doing? This is saying connect to database. And I'm going to give it a very generic name, because what if we don't want to use ChromaDB in the future, right? So it's going to be very, very generic, and we're going to say host and we are going to say port, and we are going to say collection name, right? And now I'm just going to copy this into here. And we will, so in this help, we're going to say import ChromaDB, right? And here we shall say, so I am going to default this to the Mac Mini IP, but you can always override it if you want, right? So that way we don't always have to send this in. And I'm going to default this port to 8000. So we don't always have to send it in. And I am going to leave this one without having a default, because you don't know, because what if we change the name, right? It's like, what if we change the name of it? We have, let's say we have BJJ Rules, BJJ Docs, BJJ competitions, right? So for that one, we can continue to pass that one in. We don't need to default that one to anything. So now when we go here, we want to import. So let's say from helpers, we do get embeddings. I'm going to optimize this, call Gemma, and we can say connect to database. All right. So now we can get rid of these. And over here, we can say client, we can say collection equals connect to database. And then all we have to do is pass in collection name BJJ docs, right? So now if I remove this code, and now I just have this right here, and then the collection is being called in over here, right? So now if I go ahead and I was to run this one, it should still be able to connect. All right. So let's go ahead and run that. We should see some, oh, look at that. We see action happening over here. Collections.query. Oh, I know why. So we need to do a return on the connected database. Maybe we don't call it connected database. Maybe we give it a better name than connected database. Let's say, but I need to do return collections. Because that should work. I don't know if I like the name connected database though. Let's say get collection data. Let's see if it connects. For now, we'll leave it as connected database. We'll refactor if necessary. But now, so now that we're returning the collections, right? Here should be able to do it. Sweet. See, look at all that happening. Look at all that happening right there. Boom. Now, I don't know what we're looking at here, but so what was the question that we asked? Oh, okay. Now I remember what happened last time. It was giving us, all right, so the question is how many points are you rewarded for a single leg takedown followed by a guard pass to Neon Belly? Now we got a bunch of junk in there that makes it a little bit confusing. So did I ever get an answer? So Neon Belly is 2 points. So, all right. So I don't think I got an answer. Let's copy this right here. I think that might have been the last thing that we asked it the other day as well. Let's go into here. And let me go back up a little bit, see what we had asked. So let me see. All right. So the result I got It correctly indexed the vector, but it didn't find the neon belly in the results. The judge said it was correct when the points are still off. All right, so okay, so that's what we got last time. How did it tell us to fix it? Just uncovered one of the most notorious failure states in enterprise AI architecture's retrieval dilution, also known as loss in the middle problem. Your testing framework is working perfectly. Both Gemma and the judge did exactly what they were instructed to do based on the context they were given. The failure happens before the large language model even saw the data. The failure was in the vector search itself. Here's exactly what went wrong and how to upgrade your pipeline to an agentic RAG architecture to fix it. The problem, vector averaging. When you sent the query, how many points are you rewarded for a single leg takedown followed by a guard pass neon belly? The embedding model, nomic embed text, converted that entire sentence to a single mathematical coordinate. It essentially averaged the meaning of takedown, guard pass, and knee on belly. When ChromaDB searched for the closest neighbors that average coordinate, it found chunks of text that also contained a mix of these words. Notice how these chunks retrieved heavily mentioned advantage from neon belly, advantage from guard, because those paragraphs contain multiple overlapping keywords from your long prompt. They mathematically won the search. The chunk containing the actual core rule for neon belly, which is awarded to, was pushed out of the top 5 because it didn't overlap enough with your long question. Solution, query decomposition, agentic RAG. To fix this, we don't send one massive confusing query to the database. Instead, we insert an agentic step before the search. We use Gemma to break the user's complex question down into 3 simple laser-focused search queries. Then we search the database 3 separate times, combine the best results, and hand the ultimate context to Gemma for the final answer. Here's how you surgically update your test BJJ RAG script to to implement query decomposition. Replace your entire step to retrieval with this block of code. Agentic retrieval. Decomposing the complex question into subqueries. You are an expert search assistant. Break this complex question down into a comma-separated list of 3 simple, distinct search queries. Do not output any conversational text, just the comma separated list. So the question and then the user question, subqueries raw, call Gemma, decompose prompt, temperature 1, subqueries, split that, print searching, vector DB.
Lunch break.
That is a serious query right there. All right. When you run this update script, your audience will see Gemma do the following, break it up. All right, cool. So we'll do that when we come back from break. We will try that out when we come back from break, but that is great knowledge, great information, query decomposition, so that we can make it a little bit more agentic, to be a little bit more self-aware, as they like to call it. All right. So let's go to break. Let me see what we got going on. Let me see. All right, let's get into our next topic of tonight, which is Senator Jim Banks says, what skills should AI-ready teachers focus on? So I think they were testifying before the Senate or something, and they had some pointed questions for these quote-unquote expert teaching professionals on specific skills teachers should be focused on with AI education. Let's jump into it.
Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To you and the ranking member, what an important subject and topic to host this subcommittee on, and to all of you for being here. I'm encouraged by the audience, those of you who have come to participate and listen to this, and such an important conversation. Ms. Moat, like you, I have 3 daughters in public schools, high school, middle school. They're in a great public school district with great teachers, administrators, and a school board. I think they're trying to figure all of this out, but I don't think they have yet. I don't think any school yet has figured out where we're going with this, and I think we all agree we have to be flexible. I do think Secretary Martin, that the answers to a lot of these questions are going to come from Indiana and Delaware and the states much more than they're going to come from bureaucrats and anybody in Washington, D.C. So the partnership that we have with you and those at the state level, I think, is really important, and why this subcommittee hearing is so important today. I wonder, just to start with, if all of you could be just a little more specific about what are the AI skills today that our schools should be teaching students?
I am so curious to hear what these experts are going to say, because if you leave it up to the colleges, they'll be like, we hate AI.
Why do you have to talk to me like that all the time, man?
So I'm curious to see what these experts are going to say. What are the specific skills that that we need for AI?
And if you could just sum that up in a succinct way, and then maybe you could talk a little bit as well. And I'll defer to each of you. How do we measure that? How do we measure that our students are being taught effectively in this new age and adapting to these AI skills?
All right. These politicians, they just love to talk. Like, just can we ask one question, get an answer, ask a follow-up? Like, why? Like, I don't like when people ask like 10 questions and then they expect the person who's supposed to respond to so here's a tech that happens, right? They'll ask like 10 questions, and then the person gets halfway through answering the first question, they cut them off and they ask a follow-up question. It's a mess. Like, let's just have one question, because I really want to hear the answer to this.
So Secretary, if you could just start with like what are the skills that teachers in Delaware are teaching, or that they should be teaching to kids about AI and the use of it, that's adding to a more constructive and productive learning environment?
Thank you for that question. And the skill base is for the students and also for the educators. So there's AI literacy that we speak about. First, the educators have to have a skill set, and then I think you're asking specifically about student skills. How do we use the tools that are part of the teaching and learning that's happening in the classroom? Teachers have their state standards and things that they're required to teach, and content that must be learned by the end of a year. And as they're teaching, how can a tool be used to enhance the critical thinking that students are doing? So as they're creating work, as they're working together, as they're doing research, are these tools allowing them to personalize their learning, to make it more related to their own background and their own interests, and make the learning more meaningful for them? So the skill base ends up being, how do you pick up this tool and what am I going to use it for? You could go to, I'll use it since it's a tool analogy, you could go to I won't say the name of a store, but any tool store, buy a tool. It's how are you going to use this to create this end of course paper that you're going to write? The skills have to do with literacy, and they have to do with math, and they have to be connected to science as well. And each of these tools end up being something that if a student knows how to use it, they'll be able to produce a stronger product, and they'll be able to evaluate critically the information that the tool is producing. They can't just accept the answer as it's being produced.
That's great. Ms. Moak.
What did she say? All right, life lessons. Junior, Rod Brown, Courtney Egger, whoever. Bueller. What did she say? I heard tools, a little bit of critical thinking, tools, going to Home Depot, finding a hammer drill, and of course, product. What? What were the specific skills that you need to use AI? Like, how to formulate a good prompt? How to have, how to build a skill? How to build a gem? AI literacy? How not to become too dependent on AI? It was just tools, like, I felt like the what was it? The Capitol-thon that they had in Billy Madison after he gave his long rambling answer about the Industrial Revolution. Like I was like, what did you say?
Can you talk more about what the specific skills that teachers should be teaching kids?
Okay, I wasn't the only one. Because Senator Jim Banks was like, okay, well, all right, after a minute of you saying all of those words, what are the specific skills? All right, I thought it was just me.
Producing. They can't just accept the answer as it's being produced.
I think she has never used AI before. Is it fair to say that this educator has never used AI before?
That's great. Ms. Mo, can you talk more about what the specific skills that teachers should be teaching kids?
Thank you so much for the question. I think we need to be thinking about AI literacy as a foundational literacy across all subjects, that it's important that we're able to interrogate the inputs and the outputs of this technology in history and in biology and in computer science. And so when I think about what I want to cultivate in my own children, I want them to be critical consumers of this technology. I want them to grow the skill of discernment. And frankly, that means working in multifunctional teams with humans, but also with AI as a teammate. And increasingly, I think that's what workplaces are demanding, that AI is a tool and a teammate in the work that they're doing to discuss, to discern, and to be in discourse with each other.
And
her answer was way better than the first person. So, and she's pretty accurate. I wish she would have gone in a little bit deeper in what does she mean by AI literacy, but I think she got a lot closer. What score would you give the first lady? So let's score this. Let's go back real quick. So on a scale from 1 to 10, right? What would you score her answer on what are the specific skills we need to give to students for AI?
The students and also for the educators. So there's AI literacy that we speak about. First, the educators have to have a skill set, and then I think you're asking specifically about student skills. How do we use the tools that are part of the teaching and learning that's happening in the classroom? Teachers have their state standards and things that they're required to teach and content that must be learned by the end of a year. And as they're teaching, how can a tool be used to enhance the critical thinking that students are doing? So as they're creating work, as they're working together, as they're doing research, are these tools allowing them to personalize their learning, to make it more related to their own background and their own interests, and make the learning more meaningful for them? So the skill base ends up being, how do you pick up this tool and what am I going to use it for? You could go to, I'll use, since it's a tool analogy, you could go to I won't say the name of a store, but any tool store, buy a tool. It's how are you going to use this to create this end of course paper that you're going to write? The skills have to do with literacy, and they have to do with math, and they have to be connected to science as well. And each of these tools end up being something that if a student knows how to use it, they'll be able to produce a stronger product, and they'll be able to
more about what the.
So go ahead and what is your score on a scale from 0 to 10? What would you rate her answer? All right, I'll let you know mine after we get done with that. But let me know, because we're not comparing them against each other. Just on a scale from 0 to 10, what would you rate that educator's answer? And now let's get into this person.
The specific skills that teachers should be teaching kids.
Thank you so much for the question. I think we need to be thinking about AI literacy as a foundational literacy across all subjects, that it's important that we're able to interrogate the inputs and the outputs of this technology in history and in biology and in computer science. And so when I think about what I want to cultivate in my own children, I want them to be critical consumers of this technology. I want them to grow the skill of discernment. And frankly, that means working in multifunctional teams with humans, but also with AI as a teammate. And increasingly, I think that's what workplaces are demanding, that AI is a tool and a teammate in the work that they're doing to discuss, to discern, and to be in discourse with each other.
And Mr. Jones,
so what score would you give her answer? I think she was straight to the point. Let me know what score you'd give her from a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the lowest, and 10 being the highest. the best answer. Or so all right, cool. Let's see what else, if he has anybody else.
Is there a way that schools can measure that?
So absolutely, and I might add from a skill perspective, if I could, just a couple of the quick skills that we offer. So the foundations of AI, what is it, where did it come from? The basic ethics of when should I be using AI, when is that okay? Tool selection. You know, in the early days, particularly of generative AI, we had one vendor that was the name everyone knew, but now you have so many different leading vendors. Understanding their strengths and weaknesses, when would I use one tool versus the other based on the job or the task at hand? I would suggest, we don't call it this, but a healthy cynicism around not just assuming that everything that AI tells you is correct. And so how do we teach these students to understand that this is basically an informed opinion that you need to really judge with your own research? So and we go well beyond that, but to your question around how do we test this? Something that we've been a little bit hesitant, or I should say very hesitant to do, is expose learners directly to large language models due to the predictive nature of these. So everything that we do in teaching, we use AI on the back end to accelerate curriculum creation, but it always has the backstop of validation by subject matter experts. So students are actually getting a fixed version of that educational material. So when we talk about actually testing them, how do you test when, if you put a prompt into an AI, you know, a large language model 3 times and you get 4 different answers? How do you test that from a rigor standpoint and an accreditation standpoint? So what we've done is we've created controlled environments with simulations where we leverage really the best of both of those technologies. But as we're teaching them prompting, we're not just teaching them the tactical, say this word or this, because that's changing so fast. Almost by the time you publish it, it's going to be, you know, chances are out of date. So how do you back up and teach those critical thinking skills? So what should I be using? You know, what should I be using these for? What are the strengths and weaknesses? Those sorts of things. And those are things that we can definitely test. And so we do those in what we refer to as our summative assessments.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Damn. That was good. Now. I'm gonna say with the last guy, he probably is he probably isn't quote unquote an educator, but he probably is a company that provides software for educators to help kids get into AI. Just the way that he was speaking sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And he, because like he's saying like, this is what we did, this is what we do, this is what we provide. So he sounds like he is actually, and that's probably why he wasn't directed that particular question, but he hit it out of the park. So what do you rate his answer on the skills that students need to start learning AI? So I'm gonna go with the first person. I'll probably give him a 3. The first lady, I'll probably give her a 3. The second lady, I'll probably give her. I was thinking between 7 and 8, right? But the last guy, although he kind of cheated, right? Because he's probably not an educator, but definitely a 10. Like he hit all the spots right on, and I didn't even think about I wasn't even thinking about how he mentioned they would they have the subject matter experts looking at it so that they can curate the AI that they're providing the students and teaching them prompting like that. That was really good. So that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts. Drop me a comment. What would you rate the each of the people who spoke on their answer? And what do you think? Do you think they were missing it? Like anything is left out? What do you think is important to in the skill sets of students for AI? I would add learning how to use the like Codex, like Gemini CLI, like Cloud Code. I would get them into using that from an early environment, because then you expose them into terminal, into all those different things. So I think that is also important to introduce at an early age, right? So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Drop me a comment. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification so you know every time we.
What's this? Oh, it's only money.
Shout out to my guy Magnetars. You know, every time we go live and drop new content, as well, go to techcoach.dev. Join us for Vibe Code and Chill. Join us for Scrum Nights. Get access to Tech Barbarians coaching portal, the Speak Precisely app, and Resume Flow over at techcoach.dev. All right. Alrighty then. Let's get back Let me see what's going on in the chat. I got my guy Magnetar in the building with the $5 super chat. Pop quiz time brought to you by Tax Dollars Inc. What is this and what's the OS? What is this and what is the OS? What are you talking about, man? He gives us one letter. He gives us one letter. What is that? What is the what is that? Now it can't be Kali Linux because that would start with there's no R in that. It's not Windows. What OS starts with the R? Well, it has a second letter as R. Red Hat, no. Ubuntu, no. Can I get another clue? Can I get another clue? Can I get a? I would like to buy a vowel, please. I'd like to buy a vowel, Magnetar. What OS? I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of another OS. There's so many different OS. Like, so there's Ubuntu. There is Kali Linux. There is the Red Hat distribution. Fedora, that's next. Windows, Mac OS. I don't know. I have to come back to that one. Because I can't think of that OS off the top of my head. Linux. You said it's not Kali Linux. You're half right. Half right. Is there another one that I don't know the name of it, but is there another one that they use for cybersecurity? I can't think of it off the top of my head if there is. No, that'll be CH. Chrome OS would be CH. That's what the government does. Gives you some madness to distract you from what's that is a good one. That is a good Chrome OS. I said Chrome OS. But wouldn't there be like two? If it's Chrome, wouldn't there be like an additional dash to be like CH? I don't know. Did I say it? I don't know. Anyways, shout out to my guy Magnetar. All right, let's go over. Let me check the chat some more. Ginger says she's the weirdest looking person that has the best answer. That was a generic answer. Talking about the first lady, she didn't know much. Word salad. Ginger says first person gets a 3, second person gets a 7. That's what I was thinking too. Life lessons is a much stricter grader. Says I just got back. Answer 1. For the first person is a 2. The second person is an 8. That's more graceful for the second person. I agree with that. I mean, that's basically what we said too. She says he's good. He must watch this channel. 10 out of 10. He's so silly. I hope he does watch the channel. If you do watch the channel, let me know. The first individual, when she was speaking, sounded like word salad. It would have been better if she had said she didn't know. She can't say that. You can't be in front of Congress and say, I don't know, rather than making up something that was incoherent. Because the last one knew what he was talking about. 9 to 10, he spoke on direct application. That is so true. I agree. I don't know what I said. And it says, and then steal your tax dollars. Don't be mad you can't figure it out. You guys are hilarious. All right. Let's get into our it says the OS is Linux. So where'd the R come from? Fedora, Ubuntu. I mean, Chrome is. I don't know. See, Magnetar, you keep distracting me. You know I will go down tech trivia all day long. Magnetar.
How dare you?
I tell you. All right. Let's go ahead and get into our last working segment of tonight. Let's go to here.
It's time to do.
All right. So we are working on getting our, what did they call it? They called it a query decomposition, right? So the query is decomposing like if you guys remember, Boys in the Hood, it was decomposing, right? Let me see. That was a short one. Boys. There we go. Let's go with this one. TikTok.
Y'all want to see a dead body?
Oops. That's not what I want. Well, whatever. Let's keep going. I was trying to find it, but I tried to find a short one. But query decomposition. Let's get into it. Let's see. So then we get to subqueries, print subqueries generated, search vector DB for combined context. For subquery and subqueries, subquery vector, get embedding, DB results, collections.query, subquery vector. All right, let's try this. Let's do this, and then we will read more details about it. So I am not going to type this whole thing out. But decompose prompt. You are an expert search assistant. I read that already. So let's go ahead and copy this whole thing. And we are going to put this in test BJJ RAG. Where's my mouse? What happened to my mouse? What happened to my mouse? Lost the mouse. Where is the mouse? Oh my goodness, where did my mouse? Oh, what? Why is it stuck? Okay, this is weird. This is weird. Why is my mouse not working? Is my keyboard not working? This is weird. Hold up. Everything just froze. I mean, it didn't freeze. Let me see something. So this still works. That's so weird. There we go. Right? That's I don't know what's going on. The mouse, like the keyboard, just stopped working. I don't see my mouse. Awkward. But this still works. Let me see something. I don't know what to do. Let me think. Can't even get back to the All right, it's gonna be weird. It's not gonna work. Let me. It's so awkward. This stuff just stopped. Let me see something. Nope. That is awkward. Let me see something. Let me try. I can't do anything. Let me see what I can do. Hold on. Let's see. Not doing it, typing with my phone. Mac keyboard disappeared. Mac keyboard just stopped working. Let me see. Oh, I restart the Mac. That doesn't make any sense. That is so weird. Well, I don't know what to do. Give me a second. What is going on here? I see my mouse in the corner. I see my mouse in the corner. It's just not doing anything. And the keyboard is, what time is it? Time is still working, right? That is so weird. Well, if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to end the screen. Let me see if I could let me try something. If I put it to sleep. Let me see. I put my, it's not even a shortcut I could use. Let me see something. That is so weird. That is so weird. It was going all good and then it just stopped. Well, that is weird. Might just have to end the stream. I can't even do it from this computer because I can't get anywhere. Let me see something. Let me see. The power button to lock and unlock via fingerprint still works. Everything is working except for the let me see. What if I take a different that means the power button physically working perfectly under fast sleep method. Can't click anything. Can't do that. Press Touch ID power quickly once. It will lock the screen. Your display will fall asleep shortly. Display sleep shortcut. If you prefer a direct keyboard sequence, But the keyboard isn't working. The keyboard isn't recognizing. Working either. Let me see. A Bluetooth disconnect. I don't want to do a restart. Check for clean energy battery. Boot into safe mode. Oh, it's gonna make me have to restart the computer. I don't want to do that. Let me try to plug a different keyboard real quick. Give me a second. Oh, can't do that. Let's do. Yeah, give me a second. All right, let me try this keyboard to see if it makes any difference. If not, we just gotta end it because I can't do anything. I can't even get to the. Let me see. Let's see what happens here. Let's see. Well, so I got a thing that shows that I've plugged an accessory, but I can't. Damn it. I cannot check allow on it. Well, looks like we are out of luck for tonight because there is absolutely nothing that I can do. My sounds work, but I cannot get back to my. I can't switch anything. So weird. Trying to trick the system. Well, nothing I can do about it. I am going to have to cut it short tonight. And let me take a look at the chat from somewhere else because I can't even see it. I can't even see it. Let me see. Pull it up on my phone. But I can't even see it anymore on. I can't even get back to OBS because my it's not taking any keyboard stuff. Can't use the keyboard, can't use the mouse. Just out of luck. Let's see. Oops. I really want to talk about the SpaceX thing as well, and I can't even do that. What a bummer. Let me see. Let's see what the chat says. I'll read it from my phone since I can't use the computer, and then I'll have to wrap it up. Say your tax dollar says, don't be mad if you can't figure it out, Junior. The OS is Linux. It's R as in read only. Here's the answer. It's a standard file that is read only by the owner, while no other. Let me just go full screen at this point. While no other user has any permissions at all. I'll go here too. It's crazy. Like everything is working except for the keyboard. Like if I could control this through the Stream Deck. Says I told you that's the government. No, it's not government. It's Linux. This guy confused government with Linux. Guess that's what happens when you're gun happy. You blow the simplest things. So silly. Life says my Windows PC has done this a few times in the past. I just had to go into the device settings and disable and re-enable it. Maybe it's a similar for the Mac. I have no idea. Junior says the life of a tech guy. Rod Brown says shaking my head.
played yourself.
Says, I wonder if your memory usage is running high. I doubt it. I just, because if it was, then the stream would be freezing and stuff, but it's working perfectly fine. It's just the keyboard just stopped working. And like when I click on caps lock, I bet you once I restart it, it's gonna start working right away. Says Robert says it be that way sometimes. It's been real, y'all. It's been real. What a disappointing way to end the day. Just play the outro, no music, and we'll go on our merry way. Says, could you unplug and So the thing is, Rod Brown, I'm just using the computer keyboard. When I just tried to plug in an external keyboard, and it is not, and it's like, I need to be able to click on accept this accessory, but since the mouse isn't working, I can't click on accept this accessory, and I can't press enter because it's not recognizing the keyboard. So it's just a hot mess. It is just a hot mess. So here's what it is. I'm just gonna end it. I'm just gonna take my ball and go home. So it's been real, y'all. It has been real. Let me stop my timer, which everything is working except for the keyboard and the mouse What? Massive, massive, massive failure. Bruh. But that's it, y'all. No song to exit. I'm gonna laugh at myself on the way out. I am going to laugh at myself on the way out. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content. If this thing ever starts working again, remember the book bite tomorrow. We're gonna be live on Sunday, working on the Speak Precisely app, and we have Scrum Night as well over at TechCoach.dev. That is everything. TechCoach Ralph. We are sadly out.